Okay, so this is a reply to YouTube user Bremstone and his video "Developers versus Consumers." I first off, I wish I had that Informer article, but I don't subscribe to it, so I guess I'll have to wait to pick it up at the store. Anyway, I guess I'll just go off stuff that you've said and just talk about that. Um, well, I agree definitely about the whole thing that it's not 100% the developer's fault, because how could it be? Consumers always play a role in their what they're consuming. Um, but I was just thinking about like stuff you said, and in regards to beta testing, that's probably one of the best ways you can get in and like help the games, because you're there, you're working on something with them. I mean, a lot of people take it as just like, oh yeah, I'm playing the game like a month before it comes out or something, or maybe more months, but beta tests seem to happen like all the time now, and people just are happy to play it and they don't pay any attention to like what it means to be a beta tester, which is, testing the game and, reporting back when something is weird, when something's wrong, when something's just all messed up. But, most people don't seem to do that now, which they really should. Like when I beta test stuff, I will, talk about the things going on, things that I think could see improvement. But I mean, for glitches, that's definitely important, because games now are so big and so, complex that anything you can say, any glitch that you notice needs to be reported because maybe they've never seen it before. And there's all like, if you're playing a computer game, everyone has all kinds of different computers. So something that's affecting you might not be affecting another user, maybe there's a problem with a certain Windows 7 64-bit issue only, and people on XP still don't see it. So you really, really, really need to do that. If you're a beta tester, you need to respond and make comments about what's going on in the game. Okay, and just in general, like you were talking about forums and talking about stuff there. Just clarifying, you mean official forums, right? Like official uh, developer forums or Sony or Microsoft or whatever, not just like random, Nintendo fan forum, because there's a lot less chance of that being anything important. The official forums are where the people in the company usually are going to be looking around and responding to you. Not to say that they can't be on fan forums either, but it's the better place to do it is on an official forum. What was I going to say? Okay, about the forums still. Okay. Yeah, you can say a lot of times on forums, people are just like, blah, 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 this sucks. Blah, blah, this is awesome. And it doesn't really mean anything to anybody. Who cares? That's your opinion. Cool. It's awesome. It sucks. You didn't give me any reasons why this thing is great or awful or anywhere in between. And so it's kind of just for fun. It's a useless post, even though, other people might agree with you or whatever. It doesn't tell anyone anything. Um, but, it's not just that. You can't, it's still not enough sometimes, I think. I mean, for little things like, oh, what, if everyone's agreeing this new blank feature would be really awesome, this new gun or something would be really cool, that's really easy for them to implement, in the days of now DLC. It's pretty easy to get something cool that people would want like that into a game. But that isn't it. I mean, if you're just talking about a game sucking in general, like, oh, this is so awful, it's just the same thing over and over again, it's just a ripoff or whatever it is, you know what? It's not enough to just say, this stuff is wrong, or this sucks, or, don't do this. Because in the end, it is about money, and they are going to do what they think the majority wants. Okay, for example, when Left 4 Dead 2 was going to come out, or when it was announced or something, and a lot of fans were all, up in arms, like, oh my god, how could you do this? How could you dare make this game 1 year after, it came out? Look how much you support Team Fortress 2, and look, you couldn't even give us more DLC. You're just gonna make a brand new game and make us pay again. So everyone got pissed off. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people did, and they joined those groups like, don't support L4D2. I won't play it ever. But then the game came out, and like 75% of those people bought the game and were playing it, just fine, despite, what they had said prior. So saying something is not enough. What speaks the loudest is your action. If you buy that game it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter if you bitch at it, after the fact that you've bought it. You have purchased it. It is yours. You gave them the money. You basically said, whatever I say, it doesn't matter because look it, I just bought your game anyway. So that is the main point. If you are going to buy a game, you've bought it. You've given them the money. That's all. At the end of the day, that's what they really need. And that's what they're going to go by. There's a lot of people who are in, we'll talk about, this great game from Japan needs to come out here. Why do they get it? Why don't we get it? It's the same issue, kind of, because, you can have a huge forum filled with people who are saying, bring this game out. Bring it, please. We need this game. But, if the developer decides, what, there's not enough interest, then they're not going to bring it out. I mean, even if the whole, I don't know, a lot of people are screaming for it to come out here, it doesn't matter because they want their money. And if they're not going to get as much money as they need to be a successful title, they're not going to do it. It's, it sucks, but this is how it is. Money is the underlying factor and reason for everything. If they didn't have money, they wouldn't exist, basically, So that is the big issue, unfortunately. I mean, you can scream and cry all you want afterwards, but as long as you've bought something, that's you've given them the money. You've basically said, this is okay. You can use me like this because obviously it was good enough for me to spend, $60 on or whatever it costs. So that's really unfortunate, but that's the way it is. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. The only thing you can really do, is to get into the gaming, get into that field yourself, You have your ideas, what makes a good game, whatever. You have to get in there. You have to be in there so you can understand and talk to people with, where you actually have a real voice and where you can actually change something because you are in that company with them, as opposed to just being some anonymous poster or something, someone on the internet who just says something. Though, you can become respected in your communities on the forums and stuff, have a nice bit of clout, but mostly they're going to pay attention to themselves and money for big things. For little bugs and stuff, it's helpful to talk about it. But aside from that, there's not so much you can do. And that kind of sucks, but, that's what happens. And, that's how it is. And you got to deal with it. And if you really are angry about something, then don't buy it. But that's really hard to do when you're a gamer and you want, you want all the hot new titles. It's hard to do. But that's the most you can really do. Make a dent in their numbers, and then maybe they'll start paying attention to things. And that's all I really have to say. So, bye.